Hello everyone, this is Computerizer and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. In the last episode we got started playing here in career mode and had a short little mission where we launched and landed in the ocean right over here near the Space Center. Got some science on that mission and used that science to buy some additional parts here that we need to move on with more advanced missions. In particular, larger fuel tank, some big boosters, and this much better engine. Well, not much better. It's an engine that has, compared to the one we had before, it has thrust vectoring or gimbaling so that it can change the direction of the thrust that's coming out of it. So that'll be useful to help keep our ships stable. So, first thing I'm going to do now is head into mission control here so we can take a look, hello Gene, at the contracts that we have here. I kept calling them missions in the last episode. I'll probably still call them missions because that's kind of what they are, but they're called contracts here in the game. On the active tab here, you can see these missions that we have not. Missions, see? I told you I was going to say it. It is called mission control. These contracts that we haven't achieved yet, and then so the ones that we have achieved. I think we're going to be able to escape the atmosphere pretty soon. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that contract. We're quite a ways from orbiting, so I think I'm going to skip that one for now. I mean, we could orbit at this point, but I'm going to start off with just a suborbital flight, not try to jump too far too quickly. Yeah, I think that's all we need to do there. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the vehicle assembly building. And I'm going to create a new, what did I call the last one? Let me hit load here, tiny one. I'm going to call this tiny 2. And again, we'll start off with the Mark 1 command pod that holds 1 Kerbal. So we have stacked decouplers now. Did we get heat shields? I don't think we have heat shields, so I can't remember what section that's on, but I'm going to put that on the bottom of this so the capsule can be by itself. When we land, and actually there's this science we might want to take with us so that we can capture that. So let's do that, and hopefully that parachute is going to be strong enough to not crash us too hard. So I've turned on again the symmetry here by hitting X and hit C to turn on snapping here, angle snap. Put it into the top. Pretty good. Okay. I'm not going to put an antenna on it. See if there's anything else I want to put on this part. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so under here, we'll put a pile of tanks. There. Later on, we'll have taller tanks so that we won't have to. It won't look as ridiculous. So we have a part limit of 30, mass limit of 18 tons. Okay. I'm just trying to see. So it weighs 8 tons. I wish I could do the calculation in my head. If it weighs 8 tons and this has so much thrust, you know, how hard we'll be able to push. I don't know. There are mods that you can get for the game that help with that, but I'm not going to install them yet. I probably will later, and I'll show you those the mods that I like to use. I'm going to put 4 fins on here to add some stability while we're in the atmosphere. And yeah, so this is a lot bigger than our first ship, which only had a single solid rocket booster. Could add solids on the bottom of this or something too, but I'm not going to try to get into orbit with this one or anything. We're just going to do one thing at a time, okay? Make sure my staging is right, so I don't want the parachute to come out right away. I want the bottom engine to come on first, and then once we're done with that, then we'll separate, and then sometime later we'll pull the parachute. So that's Tiny 2, and we've got Jebediah on board, and let's launch it. Okay, so we're out on the launch pad now, and let's see. Oh, so the throttle, you use shift to increase throttle and control to decrease throttle. The throttle actually matters now because we have a liquid-fueled engine, which is throttleable. You can also use Z to do full throttle, and X to cut the throttle. I'm going to go ahead and go up to mostly full throttle here. Maybe a little less, just based on experience, I guess. And check the map view, make sure it's set up for me to see how high we're going and stuff. Have that ready. And by the way, I hit M to switch to map, and out of map view is M on the keyboard. So as we launch, once we get into the upper atmosphere, I'm gonna do one of these mystery goo experiments. I'll do the other one once we're in space, and I will do a crew report in space, and I'll do the Science Junior in space as well. Okay? Launching. There we go. We're going plenty fast. I'm going to actually throttle back a little bit. And I'm also going to turn the ship to the right a bit here, to the east, so we can kind of get into a good suborbital trajectory. Can't say trajectory very well. Yeah, well, I think we're going at a good rate. We'll keep an eye on everything here. Oh. Okay, I'm going to turn. I hit the T key on the keyboard to turn on SAS. I can't remember what that stands for. Stability Assist something. That's basically Jebediah here holding the ship straight for us. Are we in the upper atmosphere yet? No, so cancel that. You can see we're going a little bit fast because see the shock waves on it here, but that's okay. Right, I'm going to turn. Now we've got to be in the upper hemisphere, right? Yes. Okay, keep that data. You can read it, doesn't really matter what it says. Okay, go to the map view, because I don't want to get too high here. Maybe about 75 kilometers. Okay, that's plenty. Now, I will wait until we get closer to that, and then I'm going to accelerate horizontally here, which will increase, our horizontal speed, which will in turn lengthen the length of this time we spend in space here. It's got some heating going on here. Probably got hot from the engine. Oh, it looks like that's the tail fins here. Okay. the min scroll wheel there. We're getting close. I'm going to stay in this view while I throttle up and down here. I'll click on the resources up here, which will keep my fuel displayed, so I can see how much is left. Notice the electrical charge is going down a little bit too. That's from the SAS being on. The ship trying to stabilize. Okay, we're in space. I'm going to start throttling now. And just, you see, this isn't going to increase a whole lot, but you see our orbit is it's getting, not orbit, but it's our suborbital trajectory here is getting lengthened quite a bit. That'll allow us to spend a little more time up here in the weightlessness of space. Okay, we're out of fuel. And cut throttle for no particular reason. We can actually stage that away. We don't need it anymore. Now I can observe materials bay. We've got 25 signs from that. That's why I want to keep that. Do a crew report, 5 signs, and the other mystery goo. That gives us 10 signs. So that should be a good amount of signs for us to get more parts. And we've got a whole bunch of contracts completed here. I'm just going to delete them all. I don't want to read all of them necessarily. Okay. And yeah, just keep that up for helpfulness. I'm going to try to turn to face this way. This uses electrical charge when we turn around like this. It uses reaction wheels inside the capsule. So you can see the electrical charge went down a little bit doing that. It'll go down when we're re-entering here as well, as the pilot, Jebediah, tries to keep the ship pointed in the direction that I commanded here, I guess. Oh, there's an island down there. Hello, people on the island. We're just flying by. Don't mind us. Okay, I'm going to switch this to surface mode by clicking on it, so I can keep the butt of the ship pointed directly into that. What do you call it? The retrograde. Well, it's pointed prograde where we're going. The ship itself is pointed retrograde. Hopefully the re-entry isn't too harsh on us. We don't have a heat shield on this guy. So as long as we're not going in too steep, it should be okay. We are speeding up at the moment, but we're not really in the atmosphere yet. And now you can see the heating, a lot of heating going on. It's possible that because the ship is not well designed, it's possible that we might flip around here. If we don't stay right on this direction. Oh, yeah, there we went. Okay, I was worried about that because I thought I might overheat some things, but it looks like everything's not doing too bad. I'll just go ahead and turn off the SAS, I guess. Since it's not the direction I want to be anyway. Try to flip it. It's not going. I need to pull the parachute as soon as it says it's safe. See, it's safe to deploy. I'll hit the space bar. Okay, there we go. We're still going pretty fast. We just heard some other parts of our ship hit the water. Alright, parachute is deploying 500 meters, which is what it's set to do. You can change that in here. Now it says 1,000. Well, maybe that's what it was. It just took until 500 before it was fully deployed. And we'll slowly drift down to the ground here with Jebediah. I'm going to turn on the time acceleration using the greater than key again. When you're in the atmosphere, you can accelerate up to 4 times. just so you don't spend so much time dangling from parachutes and things like that. It could be make the game a little tedious. I'm going to go ahead and slow back down just when we hit here. Hopefully we're going slow enough that thing survives. Oh, excellent. And tip over. Okay, good. Let's recover the vessel. And we'll see what we got from that. First of all, I'll wait for it before I start talking. So we already had a bunch of science from all those contracts we completed that I went through really quick. And we got 57 more science on this mission alone. Crew report, materials study, 2 GUs, and also 8 science for recovering a suborbital flight. We won't get this every time we do a suborbital flight, it's just for the first time. And yeah, there's the stuff that we got back. And there's Jebediah. Excellent. So we go back into the science place here, the research and development, and start buying some more stuff. We've got 70 science, so I definitely want this radial decoupler, and the aerodynamic stuff is good. We get that. Down here we have heat shield, which is very nice to have. A service bay where you can well, I'll show you how that works later. You hide stuff in it so that it doesn't stick out of your ship like the what are they called? The goo containers. You can hide them in there, batteries and things. Later on, a radial mount parachute, which is really nice if you want to add more parachutes. Landing legs, and a small radiator to help dissipate heat. This is newly added to the game. I have not used it yet. So that will be interesting to experiment with. Okay, we have 37 left, and these each cost 45, so I'm not even going to look at them. So now we'll probably have more missions. Oh, definitely. Missions. See, there you go again. We've got a lot more contracts now, so they're asking us to fly people to different places. These are probably just suborbital. Yeah, they just want to do suborbital flights because they know that we can do that now. We can test different rocket engines and things. These are good to get you money. Actually, let's go ahead and I'm going to do these 2 engine tests. Sure, we can test this solid fuel booster too. Oh no, we can only do 2 missions at once, or 2 contracts at once. So I'll show you how that works real quick. So if we go to the VAB here, let's start with something new. So we need to test the Terrier engine and the swivel engine, and those we don't have access to the Terrier engine yet, but for this test we do get access to it. Then the swivel engine is the one we just used on the rocket we just launched. So what we can do is build a very simple little capsule here, or a little ship, and I'm just going to stick this on here and build out like this, and you'll see what I'm doing. This is just to test these. I'm not actually going to fly anything here. I'm just going to test these 2 engines. So here I'm using, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm using ASDF, Q, not Q, yeah, Q and E. You know, those normal controls. You can use them to rotate things around. So I was just doing that to rotate those fuel tanks if they were pointed that way. And then I should be able to stick engine on like that. Turn off symmetry. I just want one there and I want the other one over here. Okay, so we're just going to sit on the ground. We're going to have these two little engines and a little bit of fuel. In fact, I'm not going to worry about the fuel. All we have to do, if you read the contract here, actually, is to perform the test, activate the part through the staging sequence when all the test conditions are met. And the test conditions here are you're on Kerbin and you're at the launch site. So all we have to do is activate it through staging. And that's what it says for both of these. So I don't need to actually have any fuel on them now that I think about it. Stop. Go away. Okay, I can't get that. Click. Okay, there it goes. So I can actually make this cheaper and just stick the engine. Attach there. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, I don't need these. Just put this on here and put this on underneath. There's no fuel, so it's not going to do anything. You can't see that one, but it's in there. See? It's just putting a shroud around it there. Tester 1. Save and launch. And all we're going to do, sitting here on the launch pad, is I'm going to hit spacebar. And that will, for the purposes of this, these contracts, that will satisfy that both of these have been activated through staging. Press space. They're both active. And over here, contract complete. Swivel engine was tested. And the Terrier engine was tested. And that's it. Now we can recover. So we got some cash and things for doing those two missions, and then we get all of our parts back. So I don't think it cost us very much. And I should have written down or looked at how much we actually got back there and compared it to how much it cost. But I'm assuming it's the same. Okay, so we got more contracts done. We launched into space. Got a lot more science. Still don't have enough to get any of these things. So maybe next time we'll try to actually get into orbit, which is another contract for us. Until then, I'm Computerizer. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like or dislike, and leave comments. I would really appreciate that. I'll see you next time.